Introducing Nose to Tail, a podcast where we explore the world of aviation lifecycle solutions, insights, and more. Presented by Jet Midwest.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Nose to Tail podcast. I'm Patrick Kraus, COO of Jet Midwest. I'm here with Jonathan, President of General MRO. How you doing, Jonathan?
Well, Patrick, how are you?
I'm fantastic. We're here at MRO Americas, and it's always a great event, and I'm so glad you're able to join us. This should be a lot of fun. Everybody out there is going to want to hear our discussion and really understand your perspectives on all things aviation.
Well, great, Patrick. Thanks for having me. It's great to be at MRO this year. See familiar colleagues and folks that are coming back into the industry that maybe departed during the COVID period. So really happy to see everyone here.
That's great. I'd like to start everybody out with a little history. So maybe you can give us some background of how you broke into the industry and kind of how your career has progressed.
Yeah, so I grew up in a little town called Alma, New York. It's where Moog Incorporated is headquartered. Moog is a manufacturer and designer of precision flight controls and motion systems. Had a very long family tenure at Moog there. My grandfather started there in the 1960s. Company was founded in 1951. So started there right out of school. I'm actually in the IT department of all places. That was my degree and wanted to stay close to home, and Moog was a big player in the area. So joined Moog as an intern and then found a very successful career there as I migrated into the commercial aviation, commercial aerospace sector. That's where I had the most interest at the time. From everything I saw that Moog did, and they did a lot from industrial products to space and defense products, but really had a liking towards commercial and working with the airlines. So had a lot of great mentors, and that kind of pulled me in the direction I wanted to go. So that was very nice and very supportive of them. And really made a career out of it. So spent 20 years there and joined General MRO last year.
It's really interesting, being in the OEM side, which I've always been in the aftermarket side, so I'm sure there's a lot of great differential you'll be able to experience as you've started to transition your career. But I want to go back. So you guys actually even had stuff that was on, did you have parts like on the space shuttle or on rockets? Tell me a little bit about that. That's intriguing.
So Moog was a really interesting company and had history that went all the way back to, the original rocket programs that took people to the moon, all the way up through the space shuttle program, did, many components on the space shuttle. And their space and defense group is going strong and still on some of the new products and the Mars rover and really interesting products that we see on the news on the space front. But on the commercial side as well and military, very strong presence there as well. Interesting, they've been on, every new generation aircraft recently, 787, A350, E2, C919, and then on the military side, V-22, F-35. So it was a really interesting space to grow up in and expand my career as a lot of these new products, new generation type aircraft were coming into entry into service, and then throughout their life cycle, seeing them up through the first decade of 787 and coming up on the first decade of A350 next year.
That's cool. Now, switching from IT into a different role, it sounds like you have a great personality and you enjoy working with your airlines, and usually the IT guy's not that guy. Maybe you were just cut from a different cloth and IT was just what maybe sparked your mind, but maybe not your soul. How would you describe the transition into that interface with the airlines? What really made you excited about that?
Yeah, so you bring up an interesting point. And the reason I got into IT at the time was I've always had a business mind. And early 2000s, IT was hot, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that was the industry everyone wanted to be in. That was the big growth industry. So that's why I went for a career in information technology. And then, the aftermarket business at the time had a lot of needs in that area, right? Business modeling and integration of new systems. So worked very closely with the team there at Moog on the aftermarket side and transitioned when I was able to bring a lot of that modeling expertise to the business that existed, and they welcomed it and then taught me in turn the aftermarket business. And was very fortunate. They had some great mentors, like I said before, that really brought me in, introduced me to a lot of folks in the industry, brought me to MRO shows. Really gave me a lot of opportunity.
Was that a very intentional program by Moog? or was that just some really great leadership that took it upon themselves to do that as individuals? Or help me understand.
Yeah, it was really great leadership by certain individuals. If you don't mind calling some of them out,
Absolutely.
Ellen White was a great mentor of mine. We had gentleman Kevin O'Brien, who actually saw last week. He came down to visit our shop down at General MRO. Tim Leach, some of the folks that had been in the industry, Larry Zale, a very, very long time, and really took me under their wing. So very, very blessed and fortunate to know those folks.
Yeah, throughout my career, and I heard this early on, my brother really didn't show me the ropes. He just said, go. When I would join Jet, I was like, hey, just figure it out. But I remember saying, like, how do I figure it out? And he goes, well, you just got to ask questions. And he goes, you'll be shocked at how many people out there will help you and answer any question. So just ask a lot of questions, be inquisitive, and people will teach you the things you need to know and give you some guidance. And so that's great that you guys have been able to nurture the same thing inside of Moog. And that's a long list of people to help support you, which obviously it must be a good culture there.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the gentlemen that's still there, Mark Brooks, who runs their commercial division, also a great mentor, just an incredible individual. But one of the things that, you mentioned ask questions, and that's something that I try to teach the team. And, people ask me, what can I do to learn the industry? And one of the big things I tell them is just be curious, right? More than anything, be curious. Whether it's a problem you're trying to solve on an individual component, whether it's a sales order or a deal you're trying to get done, ask questions, be curious, try to understand what your customer or your counterpart, whatever's having to deal with in that situation, and then see how you can help.
Yeah, that's great. A little Ted Lasso in you there, Jonathan.
There you
Little
go.
Ted Lasso.
There you go.
So during your time at Moog in the aftermarket portion of your career, maybe tell the folks a little bit about some of the challenges you had and kind of your approach to conquering those.
Yeah, so what was really interesting is the time I was there, we were launching 787 and A350 from aftermarket program perspectives, and in the entry into service. So, you know, that happens once in a generation, twice in a generation, where you're launching a new aircraft program out of the development phase and into entry into service. So we had a lot of great individuals that on the field service side, program management side, that spent time on site with a lot of the airline customers, the launch customers. So that really helped, I guess, lessen some of the entry into service pain you see from an MRO perspective, is to have really great people on site with the airlines, and that helps mentor relationships that are, career long, right? With those individuals, everyone remembers that, that one person that's helped them, solve one of those problems, or gone through the problem with, to completion. So that was one of the big opportunities that we had, was having good people, building those relationships with the airlines for entry into service. And in some cases, those transferred into, maintenance and support contracts, and, supporting the airlines longer. So that's one of the things actually, we're working with General MRO is, taking a very similar approach. I came on board a year ago today, actually, thank
Congratulations.
you, in a business development role. And they asked me to take the role of president here in September. So very, very blessed for that opportunity as well. But one of the things we're trying to do is get back and be a trusted partner to airline suppliers, OEMs. That's what we really look for. And that's really our goal and vision, is to be a trusted partner to all these individual entities in the aerospace industry. One thing I've learned through my career is that when you've gone through a problem with somebody, or you solve a problem and find a solution, you really develop a bond with that person, with that company. You gain trust, and that's something we want to continue to build on. So again, that's something where we working on with General MRO is, to build those foundational partnerships with the airlines and see where we can support them. Now, in the past year, we've brought on individuals that have retired from Boeing, that have been with, individuals that have been with many different OEMs, individuals that have great relationships in different regions of the world, all individuals with, 20 plus years experience in the industry, that have gone through those situations and built that trust with a lot of the airlines. So we want to continue to build on that, and see where we can, continue to support and be a good player in the industry.
That's fantastic. Well, let's talk a little bit about General MRO, because that we segued fairly quickly there. Um, so you made this transition from an OEM to a founder-owned and operated company. Then they've brought you in the fold, and now they've entrusted you to be the president of that and really put maybe a new vision and a new strategy for a vision for the next 5 years and maybe strategy in the short term. What are really the contrasting methods that you've had to or obstacles maybe you had to overcome switching over from the OEM to the aftermarket? Because I've always been on the aftermarket side, so I couldn't imagine going the other way. I don't think they'd put up with me. But what challenges really have you met and conquered so far?
Well, that's interesting because it's a very different world. I'll tell you that. When you're with an OEM, many OEMs have the perception that um, the aftermarket is theirs, and independent OEMs, there's really not a place for them. OEMs that take that approach are truly missing the boat. Independent OEMs can be a very, very good partner to OEMs, and that's the way we look to be at General MRO is a good partner with them going forward. But it is a very different side of the business where an OEM may have specific parts that they manufactured and repair, and it's a very narrow scope. General MRO has a very wide scope. I think we've got 30,000 capabilities on our capabilities list. So, and we focus mainly on the areas of expertise: hydraulics, pneumatics, power generation, fuel, um, electromechanical components we do. And we focus on those as subject areas, right? As opposed to we do a flight control or we do a hydraulic pump that's on a 737. So our scope is a lot wider. So that's something that's new to me. If I look at components, if I look at the 737, for example, and the components that are typically on a PBH, we have capabilities on about 50% of those, right? So, when you're with an OEM, you may have 10% of the part numbers or 20% of the part numbers or a component here or a component there. So that's very different. And it's been an interesting transition because we can be a better partner to our airline customers because as they seek to reduce the number of suppliers they have, which I think is still a consistent trend in the industry from the airline perspective, we can be a bigger part of that. And that's really what's satisfying is we can be a better partner for a lot of airline customers today.
What are those key things that make General MRO really special?
First and foremost, I would say the quality of our products. And that's one of the reasons I joined General MRO was because the quality that they're known for, the quality that they put forward, not only in their testing, but the quality when the product leaves. It's something you'd be proud of. And coming from an OEM background, that was always first and foremost for us, right? You want to have a quality product. Our families fly on flights every day. So you want to make sure that they're on a safe flight. You want to make sure that they have components supporting that aircraft that don't fail and have long reliability. So quality is first and foremost. And second, I would say the people. We're still, compared to many people in this room, we're still a pretty young company. And transitioning from kind of that startup focus to something that's more consistent with our output, more consistent with the products and turnaround times and things that we deliver. Getting the processes and procedures to do that is important. But what's supporting that is the people. And we have a great team at General MRO in Miami. We've got a great team supporting us in the back office in Honduras. And we've got a great team in Istanbul and Antalya, Turkey as well. Some folks that just joined us supporting us on the trading side. So it's really the people.
That's great. Yeah, completely agree on both quality and people. There's certainly, if you don't get either one of those things correct, you're going to struggle. Yeah, no matter how good you think you might be, if those places aren't strong, it's tough to be in this business.
We'll continue this discussion on the next episode of Nose to Tail, a podcast presented by Jet Midwest. Don't forget to please like and subscribe to our channel.